Good morning, Facebook warriors. My name is Mike. I'm the Director of Operations here at Beautifully Damaged. First of all, I'd like to apologize to all of our members. There was some drama going on with a few people, and I apologize for that. I never wanted that, expected that. So once again, I apologize. This is the Musings of a Scoundrel. I'm qualifying everything I'm saying with the fact that I'm not a mental health professional, nor am I a doctor or a psychotherapist. Simply a mentally ill man expressing his feelings on a public forum here at Beautifully Damaged. I will tell you today's musing will be graphic, so if you're easily triggered, please turn off this musings now. Let's get right into it. If you hear me pause every once in a while, that's because I have coffee with me. It's Monday morning. What do you want from me? Yeah, people tell me and tell us an instant message that they just want to die, that their life has become too difficult, whether it be through trauma, whatever it may be. And the reality of suicide isn't pretty, and it never is. And I'm going to talk to you today about an experience that I had when I was roughly 21 years old. I had a girlfriend at the time. Her name was Liz. Her brother decided that because he found a lump in his wrist, he had cancer and he was going to die. And so he hung himself. My dad came over that morning and said, "Mike, we need to have a talk." I thought, oh God, Dad, I already know about sex. What are you doing? We go into the Burger King drive-through that's close to my apartment at the time. And he said, "Ryan killed himself." And I said, "What?" I mean, I couldn't believe it. I was kind of shocked. And he said, "Mike, you can't say anything to your girlfriend. Her parents want to tell her." So we got back to the apartment, and it really broke my heart that I couldn't tell her myself, but I made a promise to my dad that I wouldn't talk about it. So I was living in Kentucky at the time, and we decided to drive up to Cleveland. I'm sorry, Dayton, and her parents would take us the rest of the way to Cleveland. So we got to Cleveland, and I learned more details about his suicide. Apparently, he hung himself in the attic of her parents' house. Her parents' house was an old Victorian-style home, and it was pretty warm. It was the middle of July, and if any of you are from Ohio, you know how hot and humid it gets there. It gets very, very, very hot and very humid. So basically, the body had been hanging in an attic for 5 days in the Ohio heat. Nobody wanted to go into that house, but her father just kept pushing and pushing and pushing that we enter that house. And I gotta tell you, I wasn't looking forward to it, but I was Liz's boyfriend. I had to support her. We go through the front door, and there's somebody that I don't know. I'd never seen before. Part of her family was sweeping millions of flies off the kitchen floor. In fact, there were so many flies, the floor looked black. I mean, the flies were absolutely everywhere. What was creepy about the whole situation was that the smell and the smell of rotting flesh was just overpowering, nauseating. I mean, it was so bad you could actually taste it in your mouth. It was really disgusting. Remember, the house is old. It doesn't have central air, so it just got warmer and warmer and warmer in that house. And your first instinct is to throw up, but I just breathed through my mouth, and that was it. But her father didn't stop there. He said, "Let's go upstairs." And I'm thinking, oh God, I'm gonna throw up, halfway up those stairs. And the stairwell was very tight. You could only fit one person through it at a time. So we proceeded up this stairwell, single file. And as we got higher in the house up those stairs, the heat and the smell intensified. And they hadn't cleaned the flies off the floor on the stairs yet, so you were crunching on thousands of flies. I mean, this whole scene was surreal. We get upstairs, and the smell was overbearing. It was beyond shocking to me. And her father, I don't know what his deal was. He was just so morbid, forcing us to see this. What we had seen was an electrical cord that was tied off on a bookcase, and it traveled up and up and up over the door, and there it was. There was the electrical cord that was still hanging down. And it's important to note that there were fluids and blood all over the floor, and we just sat there in shock. Why did her father force us to look at this? I still don't know. I don't know if it was a warning from him that this is what really happens. I'm not completely sure. So the next day we come back, and the father wanted us to clean these dark little specks, off the walls. The house had to be cleaned. Why they didn't get professional cleaners in there, I'm not completely sure. But so I started scrubbing all these little dots off the walls, and I was like, what the hell is that? But I kept on scrubbing these walls. Well, as it turned out, there was a gentleman that walked up the stairs. I don't know if he was a police officer or a detective. I didn't know him. And he said, "That's blood." And I instantly dropped the little spongy that I was using to clean the walls, and I said, "Excuse me?" He said, "That's blood." And as it turned out, when the police investigators fumigated the house to kill all these flies, the flies were feeding on the body, and the fumigant that they used basically killed the flies they threw up everything in their system, guts and blood and everything else, and then they died. So I was literally barehandedly cleaning blood off the walls, his blood. I think in retrospect now that being so young, I was extremely traumatized from witnessing this and cleaning blood off the walls. But the reason that I'm telling you this story is people don't realize how devastating and traumatic it is for family members to find their loved ones hung or shot or whatever. There is no glory in suicide. A lot of mentally ill people that I have met have said, I want to go out, I want to take this way out. And they don't think about the long-term consequences, that haunts families for years and years and years. And people don't think about how their body decomposes. It's devastating for everybody involved. I think back to that day, and I don't know, I was so traumatized now that I really think about it. It's another issue that I kind of buried. But This is a warning for all of you today that they're really suffering, that this is the reality of suicide. Your family members will smell your rotting corpse. They will clean blood off the floors. Liz cried, but she didn't cry. It was weird. She kind of expected it. That was kind of creepy. I remember on the 4th or 5th day, a paycheck came in from Ryan's work, and his mom was sitting on the kitchen table, or sitting in a chair on the kitchen table, and she was sobbing because that somber reminder that her son was dead. There is no glory in this. I know it firsthand. I've seen my friends die. A 14-year-old girlfriend at the time, when I was about 15, she died. 2 friends from the group home I was at committed suicide. I've been to too many funerals. For anyone out there that's feeling suicidal today, my heart goes out to you. And I hope that today this musing may save your life. There is no honor in what you're thinking about. The only reason I think I haven't hung myself is because I remember those couple days in Ohio when I just saw all that blood and realized my friend Brian was sprayed all over the walls. I'd like to thank you for listening to the Musings of a Scoundrel. I hope everybody has a blessed Monday morning. It's kind of rainy and dull here. Hopefully where people are listening, the sun is shining, and thank you very much for listening. Thank you.